Well, good afternoon and a very warm welcome to Maestro Muti and Chairman Andreas Großbauer, and obviously to all of you who have kindly joined us for this launch of a Vienna Philharmonic vinyl edition. Maestro.
My relationship with the Vienna Philharmonic goes back to 1971. And since then, we have been working together every year with the concerts in the Musikverein, in the concert house, around the world, many recordings, tours, and they've given me the most important food, musical food. Mm-hmm. I was very, very young. And for me to have the privilege to conduct the Vienna Philharmonic when I was 30 years old was not only a privilege, but a challenge.
A burden, probably, yeah.
And especially at that time when I met the orchestra for the first time, in the orchestra were still many musicians that had played with Furtwängler, with Bruno Walter, Clemens Krauss. So for me was really, it's difficult to explain what I felt inside. I was terrorized. But since the first moment, we had a wonderful musical understanding, and fortunately, the first work that we did together was Don Pasquale, Donizetti. Mm-hmm. So even if I was terrorized, I felt a little bit secure of myself because I was playing in my territory,
Right.
Donizetti and then that was since then, every year, the Vienna Philharmonic invited me, Salzburg Festival invited me, and the second time that was really very important in my relationship with the musicians was in 1982 when I did Cosi Fan Tutte. And I have said the story of this Cosi Fan Tutte other times, but maybe not everybody knows. It's because it's a special story. I was touring the United States in 1979 with the Philharmonia Orchestra of London. At that time, I was the music director of the Philharmonia. And that was my last tour, and I was already appointed as music director of the Philadelphia Orchestra. So it was my last tour with this famous European orchestra. And one of the concerts during the tour was in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know the existence of this place, but also the Vienna Philharmonic has been several times. No, there. No, you have been everywhere anyway. No. So Raleigh, North Carolina. You have been in North Carolina. See. Don't be afraid to say North Carolina.
I haven't, but you came back alive. So
no, it was a wonderful experience. Very nice people, wonderful people. And I did the concert in the evening. So at 7 o'clock the next morning, after the concert, my wife was with me, and we heard the telephone ringing. 7 o'clock in the morning. So I said to my wife, I said, "Who is this idiot that is calling at 7 o'clock in the morning?" Must be certainly a mistake. But the telephone went on ringing and ringing. So I took the telephone and I hear a voice. I said, "Pronto?" And the other part I said, "Sono Karajan."
È vero.
No, I said to my wife, "Ha ha ha, there is a new stupid that is saying that is Karajan, it's a joke." Then I said, "Hello?" And I heard again, sono Karajan. So I said, oh, mamma mia. And then I said, Maestro, how could you find me in Raleigh, North Carolina? and I will never forget, the answer was, if you want to find somebody, you find him. He knew that I had done Nozze di Figaro in Florence and in La Scala, because Karajan knew everything about young conductors. He helped all the young conductors. We must never forget. I said, Maestro, I've never done Cosi Fan Tutte, and also I know that this production, the Cosi Fan Tutte conducted by Carl Böhm, for many years, was a huge success in Salzburg. So I said, after Böhm, if I do Cosi Fan Tutte, I will be killed. Can you give me a little bit of time, 1 or 2 months, to think about? The answer was, sì o no.
I feel personally that I wasn't so fortunate to be there, but obviously I listened to the recording and I felt that Bruckner's Second Symphony is also one of these special defining moments. It was also done in honor of your 75th birthday. So why did you jointly choose that piece in particular for a birthday celebration here in Salzburg?
This performance as an orchestra that owns Bruckner. It's part of really the heart, the soul of Austria.
Right.
And for me, it was a great privilege to do this concert. It was a special, the fact that it's now a document. I can say thanks to the Vienna Philharmonic and to Deutsche Grammophon.
Well, thank you for this wonderful partnership. Eugen Jochum, who is a very famous Bruckner conductor, obviously, he also grew up playing the organ. He always maintained that you can't conduct Bruckner if you haven't played the organ, or at least if you adapt the concept of organ playing to the orchestra. So thinking in blocks, like a register is either pulled or it's not pulled, right? But I feel, listening to your recording, you have a different kind of approach that is more subtle, more evolving, more breathing with the music. How would you describe your Bruckner approach?
It's difficult for me to describe my interpretation, because it's always not interesting to analyze yourself. Of course, my experience with the Vienna Philharmonic has been very important to approach this composer. And of course, I know the interpretation of Jochum, that I consider one of the greatest Bruckner conductors. And also, I have in my approach to Bruckner, I have in mind the instrument that inspired his. Of course, what I bring in a positive or negative way, I don't know, is the fact that I come from a Mediterranean culture. But don't forget that Austria was part of the Roman Empire.
Well, lots of history facts that we're sharing here today, and history is complex, obviously.
No, but I mean, the heart, the soul of Austria, and you love this country, and you have been in Linz, and you know the history, you realize not the secret, because nobody can can discover the secrets of the soul of a genius, but his music speaks to you. Certainly, you need to have a culture that makes you, helps you in going in his partiture. And the sound of the orchestra, their phrasing, the way of playing, teaches you, tells you, gives you the way. And once you have seen the way, then you can put your personality and your concept. And this is the greatness of music, where everybody can bring his own personality, but to a basic cultural basis that it's important to understand and not to change.
Right, absolutely. The review on that Bruckner performance last year here in Salzburg, it contained actually a very catching and wonderful phrase. It said, the review in Der Standard, it said it was one of the rare occasions in the musical world where time actually stood still at the end of the slow movement. And do you have a recollection of the performance of that moment in particular?
No, I remember only that that, you know, I'm never happy about what I do. See, it's impossible that at the end of a performance you are 100% happy of what you have done. But I remember that was a special atmosphere. And it's difficult to describe, but it was a sort of a way of saying the orchestra to me and I to the orchestra, thank you for all those years together. Because, I mean, 45 years, 46 at that time, every year, it's a real marriage. Means that I started that I was a boy, and I called the musicians, I remember that I called professor. Professor this, professor this, professor this, professor.
Which was true,
and now,
right?
because I'm the oldest, I during the rehearsal say, ragazzi, bambini, allora, andiamo. So this is in synthesis the relationship. But so one time I was the son, thanking the fathers. No? Yeah. Now I am the grandfather taking care of the children and grandchildren.
You're taking very good care of your children.
It's a great pleasure.
Thank you very much. Great pleasure.